everybody, it's Michelle, and I've got a really fun punch art project for you guys today. We're going to be doing a hamburger, and I think this would be a lot of fun for scrapbooking pages, for summertime cookouts and cookout invitations and cards. Lots of summery things you could do and incorporate this burger. I think it's a lot of fun, and I've already got my shapes cut out here, and I used die cuts, but you guys know that you can use punches as well. I prefer to do this type of punch art with die cuts instead of punches, because when you buy dies you get a set of many different sizes, and I think it's a lot more versatile and you can do a lot more with it. I still try to use some basic shapes that you would find in punches as well, so that you guys can do it in punches if that's what you have. So I've got two ovals in sort of a creamy beige color, like what would be the lightest color on a hamburger bun. So those are going to be our bun. And then I've got a craft cardstock in the same oval, in the same size, and that is from my unbranded stacking ovals set, and it's the third one up from the smallest. And then I've got a diamond shape, or rhombus, whatever you want to call that, and that's going to be our cheese, and that is from a stacking set of that shape also unbranded, and that one is the third one up from the smallest also. I'll have links to all of these die sets for you guys so that you can get these, and they are super cheap when you buy these unbranded sets, and that's why I'm able to have so many of them and do so many different things, because those unbranded ones are really dirt cheap, and I think they're a great bargain. And for my lettuce, I decided to use a cloud shape, and this comes from a die set that I bought, also unbranded. It just had this cloud and a rainbow, so I will put that for you as well. And I just thought that the cloud would be good for lettuce because of those ruffly edges. You guys could also use a scalloped circle or a scalloped oval, anything with a ruffly edge, because really the edge is all that's going to be showing. And then I cut out two circles for my tomatoes. You could also use ovals for this, just like the diamond shape is going to be our cheese, because that's what, if you were looking at an angle at a square piece of cheese, you would see this shape here. Also, if it were at an angle, a round tomato could easily be an oval. So either one you want to use for that, whatever you've got in punches or dies. And I used my unbranded stack in circles set, and this was the smallest one in the set. So we're ready to start working on our pieces a little bit, and I wanted to do some inking on the edges and sort of give a little bit of dimension to it so that our pieces don't just blend into each other. That way they'll kind of stand out a little bit. So for our hamburger buns, I'm going to use a combination of my potter's clay and my memento dewdrop and a little bit of rich cocoa. It's got a lot of red in it. It's sort of a warm brown, so that's going to help us get the look of a toasted hamburger bun. And I'm just going to take a little bit of that and sponge it onto the edges. I'm going to bring in a little piece of scrap over here to the side, just in case I need to dab off a little bit. Otherwise, I'm working on my glass cutting board here, because a glass surface will really allow you to pull that ink back up onto there slowly instead of clinging to the surface. So I'm going to get a little bit of that potter's clay color on my sponge, and I'm just using those sponge pouncers from Walmart. And on this one, I don't want to bring the color all the way into the middle, because I want to leave that light bright spot that you get on a hamburger bun. And I'm going to switch to my rich cocoa. And that's just to give a little bit of browning, a toasted look. And just slightly tone down the orange of that potter's clay. And I think that looks pretty good. We don't really want to change the color of it too much. We just want to add a little bit of dimension. So I'm going to do the same thing to my other one here. And what I'm going to do is, even though only one side is going to matter, I'm going to do it all the way around, just so that I've got two options here that I've done all the way around, and whichever I like better. In the long run, I'll make my top bun a little bit of that rich cocoa. And I think the lighter one here I will use for my top bun. Okay, now I'm going to bring over my piece for my hamburger patty. And I want to do it a little bit differently. I'm going to set my potter's clay aside. I'm done with that. And this time I'm going to pounce some of that color with the rich cocoa. And instead of swirling and blending, I'm just going to daub straight down, so that I get that speckledy texture of the sponge. And on this one, I'm only going to worry about doing the bottom half, because when we build our burger, that's all that's going to show. So I'm just pouncing straight up and down with that. And then I'm going to come in with a little ground espresso in the Tim Holtz Distress ink. It's just a little bit darker of a brown. And again, I'm coming straight up and down, because I want that speckle texture for my burger. See if you guys can see that speckledy look a little bit. And then I'm just going to pick it up and do my edges. Again, just on that bottom edge, that's all that really matters. And I'm going to wipe up those browns so that I don't pull any of that onto my lighter color pieces. And to darken the edges of my cheese, I'm using the color Cantaloupe in the Memento Dewdrop. And again around the edges. You especially want to do this part if you've got white edges on your paper. And that's our cheese ready to go. And the cheese, the lettuce, and the tomatoes, by the way, were all taken from my watercolor paper pad in the bright colors from the Miss Sparkling company that I got at Joann. And I think the watercolor look really helps give a little bit of color variation that you would find in lettuce or tomatoes or something like that. Okay, and for my lettuce, I'm taking pear tart around the edges of that. And I really want to keep this light. I'm really just trying to do a little bit of dimension around the edges. I don't really want to change the color too much. And for my tomatoes, I'm using Ladybug in the Memento Dewdrop. And this time I'm using my ink blending tool, just whatever ink application tool you've got on hand. And again, I really only need to worry about one edge that's going to show on my tomatoes. And now we are ready to start building our Punch Art burger. I'm going to turn that way and use that bottom edge that's a little bit lighter. And I'm going to be using a combination of my foam tape from Dollar Tree and some art glitter glue. I want to pop some of these up on foam tape, but not all of them. I do want to pop up my hamburger patty, so I'm going to put my foam tape down on the top half of my bottom bun, and then just put my burger patty on there. And if you do it just slightly crooked, just a little bit, it's really going to look more like a burger would look, because let's face it, they're not towers that go straight up. So I like to do that. And my cheese, it would be melted down flat against my burger patty. So I'm just putting that on with art glitter glue, and I'm not going to pop that up. And then just place the cheese a little bit crooked also. And then I'm going to put my lettuce, and you can just use one of these. You don't have to use two. If you did use a scalloped circle or a scalloped oval, you could just cut it in half and turn both of your scalloped edges that way, just to show a little bit of layering. I'm just kind of playing around there to see how I want them to lay. Put a little bit of glue in between those together, and then right on the back. And now for our tomatoes. Again, I'm only worrying about glue on the bottom, that very bottom edge that I put the ink onto to darken it up. And so far we're getting a pretty nice looking burger. There's one more thing I forgot to bring in that I wanted to show you guys as an option. I think I want to put some purple onions, and this is again out of that same watercolor paper pad. I'm just going to come in with my 1-inch circle punch and just snip off part of the edge there. And then I can come in against that edge and just punch some little rings of purple onion. And I thought those would be really cute on my burger. And I'm going to go ahead and take my Lulu Lavender, and I'm just going to take the ink pad straight to the edge. And just give a little bit of color to the outside edge of those little onion slices. Doesn't have to be a lot. Just the slightest little touch of color on there will help it stand out. And now we can put our onions on our burger. And I'm going to wipe up that excess, but it's really not going to matter. A lot of that will be underneath, and what is left showing will dry clear. And just a touch of glue under there to stick that down. There we go. And that's going to, just the edges down here is what's going to show after we get our bun on the top. And again, for that I do want to use some foam tape and just put that there. And put my top bun on. Still want to see at least part of both of those tomatoes and some of my onions. And now, after all those layers of dimension, I'm going to turn it over backwards, and I'm going to take another one of my foam squares, and I'm going to cut it in half lengthwise, because in the grand scheme of it all, this right here is going to need 2 layers to hold it up even where we want it to be. So I'll peel that off and then put my other piece on. And then I can wait and peel that backer off whenever we put it onto a card or scrapbook page or whatever it might be. And I think that is one good looking burger, but there is one more final touch that I do want to add, and I think this is the part that makes it the most fun, and I just really love it. I'm going to bring in some sesame seeds, and we're doing that with glitter, and I'm going to put gold glitter sesame seeds. Now this does say jumbo glitter, but you guys have seen this before in, I think it was my black cat bead charm video. I've had this for many years and it says jumbo glitter. But if you guys shop at Walmart, which is where I got this, you know that now what says jumbo glitter is much larger with the flakes. So I'm not using this real large jumbo one. I'm just using this sort of large. And I'm not going to shake that on. I'm going to open that so I can just take a little bit and sprinkle it very lightly. And since our art glitter glue does dry clear, I can spread some of it right onto the top of my bun. And I'm just going to spread some around. Just sort of in the center area of my bun. And then I can take just a few little flakes and sprinkle them on there so that they get spaced out nicely. And that will dry clear, and we'll be able to see just our little gold sesame seeds on there. I'm going to go ahead and take my little die release tool. I'm going to flick some of them away because I think I may have went just a little too heavy on it. It's sesame seeds and I don't want a lot. And I'm just kind of going in and removing anywhere I think that there are too many. And I think that's good right there. And I'm going to let that dry so that our art glitter glue turns clear. So now my art glitter glue has dried clear, and you can just see the glittery sesame seeds on there. I had so much fun with this project, and I think it is so cute. So you guys leave a comment below and let me know what you think of my Punch Art Burger. I think it is just so cute, and I had so much fun making this. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, give me a like over on my Facebook page, and be sure to join our Facebook group, Craftie Minds. Also follow me on Pinterest and Instagram, and don't forget to visit my blog. I'll put the links to all of those in the description below, so be sure and check them out. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.